Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz saxophonist Paul Metcalfe for the Heavyweights Brass Band on their new 2021 CD called Stir Crazy. It was recorded during a marathon 3-day session at the Union Sound Station from March 12th to 14th, 2020, just before the COVID-19 pandemic forced the live music world into hibernation. This is their fourth full-length album, and it's a celebration of getting back to life, live music, and so much more. We discuss all of this with Paul. Enjoy.
Thanks for taking a minute out, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Pumped to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. So let's talk about, we've interviewed in the past, and it's good to rendezvous again. I think the last time we talked, there was a much different circumstance on planet Earth than there is now.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I guess with that as our kind of subtext here with everything, you have a brand new album, the 2021 CD, Stir Crazy, which probably would define most of the planet for the last year and a half.
Definitely, yeah.
What does it mean to release this album during a time where you can probably do live shows more easily, and just the whole idea of getting back at it?
That was the tricky part with the album. So we actually recorded it March 2020, was in March 12th to 14th, 2020. So I think here in Toronto, everything locked down about 3 days later. So we were all together in the studio, and we're kind of getting, all the news, like, while we're recording things. And so we'd play a track, and then we'd, get back in the studio, everyone turns their phones on. And it was like this sad game of, who lost what gigs next. So it was like, oh, I lost a gig. Oh, I lost a gig. Oh, I lost this theater gig that was like a month long, that stuff. And then eventually we just realized that everything was gone. So it was just like, so by the end of leaving that studio on the 14th, I think we didn't see each other in person for, I think, maybe 6 months after that as a band. So it was kind of crazy. So we were like, what to do with this album? We were trying to find the right time to bring it back where we can actually play a live show to release it. So amazingly, we are playing one tomorrow night at this bar in town that we love called Drum Taberna. And that's actually the place. We hadn't played there indoors since February 2020, so we're super pumped about that. So that's cool. It's great to be like, okay, I think this is possible to do some things now.
Yeah, that's wild that you were doing it then. And it is amazing because I remember I used to always talk to people about how strong the world jazz community was prior to the pandemic, and now I never have to ask that again. The amount of gigs that went away, it's astonishing. The response and what happens. Is there something cathartic or extra special about the fact that you have this hindsight? You recorded this before a time that's been completely tumultuous for the planet, and now you can look back and see what you created during a time right now where you release it. Yeah,
I mean, it was very interesting going back to it because it turned out that some of the songs we had were a bit darker anyway, like one's like Manipogo on the record, which was an original of mine that was kind of darker, and we did Black Hole Sun from the 90s. That was like a bit of a darker tune. So we kind of had this sort of dark light kind of feeling going anyway. And so, and even the song like Stir Crazy, that one we named it while we were doing the studio because things were already getting kind of crazy. So with that one, but it was interesting going back. So we left it for a while after we recorded. We didn't listen to it for a bit because everyone was sort of getting a sense of what was going on, and we weren't seeing each other in person. And then I listened back to it. And it was interesting listening to, so the first track is this like Street Polly's Boogaloo one, that's the original of mine. And it's very upbeat, very like energetic, kind of like, they're kind of happy, very nice. And listening back to it, it was like that feeling of, oh, that's what that felt like. That kind of like, after like, oh, this is what playing together in person, like getting that energy from a band felt like. So it was interesting coming back and kind of hearing my own energy from before and hearing it after I'd been, alone at home and not playing together with anyone for, 4 or 5 months, I think, by the time I listened back to the track again. So that was definitely a different perspective coming at it in a different way. So I think some of the songs have that, where some of them are kind of darker already and fit with sort of the pandemic feeling, and then you get those ones that are like, this was the energy from before that I'm kind of always trying to work back to. So it's kind of interesting listening to it from a completely different perspective.
So what are you hoping the listener or those that download and buy this get from this CD?
Yeah, I think it's that idea of that energy that we're trying to like work back to, And it's essentially like this, it's like almost, especially like the Stir Crazy song, it's like, it's a pent-up energy. It's an energy that we all have, and it's holding, and it's in there. And you see those moments now that it can kind of burst out. So feeling that feeling as you're getting to do some things again is what I think I'd love everyone to feel that too. Like, kind of like I felt listening to that first song back again, being like, oh yeah, this, right. Let's do this. This sounds good. This feels good. So that's kind of, I think that's probably the kind of the feeling that we want other people to feel too when they listen to it.
As an individual and as a band, what do you think you and the band realized during this quarantine time that maybe you didn't realize about yourselves before that will make you stronger when you get back on stage?
For me personally, actually, I mean, we all went through a lot of crazy things. I had, problem with like living in an apartment, and had the thing where suddenly I'm there all the time, and so is the guy right below me, and I had a lot of troubles with that, and just like really appreciating the times that I get to play and make noise and not have, being restricted and not being able to do that. So that was kind of crazy. So it was like I was, so I guess it's just that idea that, like really not taking for granted those moments to play together. And that's something, so we actually started back a little bit sooner. Well, there was a couple times in Toronto where the kind of the stay-at-home order was lifted, and they were allowed, 20 people outside kind of thing, like last summer. We started actually just busking on the street again. So that was something that, as a band, we hadn't done for a little while because we were playing more shows, more festivals, and things like that. And so just like playing together, busking on the street, having that connection with someone just at that moment, like, and the energy from it was so good because they had been just at home all the time. So they're walking outside their house, and there's this band that's come to them, and I think it's like really appreciating that energy that comes from a live performance, that not to take it for granted, not to be like, oh, it's, just another show, or, oh, this crowd wasn't that good, or this crowd was better than that crowd, that kind of thing. It's like any live performance is kind of is a gift now, and it's something to really appreciate. I think that's the difference.
That's great,
yeah.
Paul. Thank you for opening up about the album and about what's going on. Yeah, good luck with it, and good luck with the return to the stage.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot. We're super pumped about all of it. Yeah.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Toronto, New Orleans, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Paul on behalf of the band for his time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.